Welcome into Golf Today on a Tuesday. Damon Hack alongside Eamon Lynch of Golf Week magazine. We've consumed a lot of great golf over this summer, but it's been a busy summer, a lot of turbulence and strife as well, especially with the creation and function of the LIV Golf Tour. There have been many questions surrounding how the FedExCup standings, for example, would be affected. And today, Jay Monahan, the commissioner of the PGA Tour and the Tour, made a move to create some clarity. With 2 weeks left until the start of the FedExCup playoffs, Jay Monahan and the Tour Policy Board have approved the creation of a secondary points list, which will remove from the FedExCup standings all suspended players. In other words, LIV players who have not resigned their Tour memberships. The commissioner says the eligibility points list will ensure that suspended members do not negatively impact other players' tournament eligibility, positioning on the priority rankings, or eligibility to compete in the FedExCup playoffs. Here's an overview of these changes. Players who have participated in LIV Golf events will not be eligible to compete in this year's FedExCup playoffs and will not be included in the new eligibility points list. Those suspended players will also not be eligible for this year's President's Cup. The suspended players will still be awarded bonus money based on their final position on the official FedExCup points list. So there are currently 8 players who have competed in LIV Golf events and are still ranked inside the top 125 of the FedExCup standings. And here they are: Taylor Gooch, Matt Jones, Hudson Swafford, Matthew Wolff, Abraham Ancer, Carlos Ortiz, Brooks Koepka, and Pat Perez. Now, there are 3 additional players in the top 135 committed to play in the upcoming LIV Golf event, which would make them ineligible for the FedExCup playoffs as well: Jason Kokrak, Charles Howell III, and Paul Casey. So with that, we welcome in Rex Hoggard. Rex, how did we end up here?
Well, this goes back really a couple of weeks now, Damon. This has been a hot topic on tour simply because players wanted to know where they were going to land. As a matter of fact, Commissioner Jay Monahan had a Q&A just last week with players. He had 2 separate sessions trying to answer as many questions as they could, and they were moving in this direction all along. The concept is essentially kind of the same way they handle when an amateur makes the cut in a PGA Tour event. They're still allowed to play the weekend, they're still allowed to play in the event, but they're clearly not getting paid. So when it comes to purse distribution, they're simply removed from that list. Now, this is important for a couple of different reasons, and there's certainly a legal component of this. You mentioned Taylor Gooch. He's number 20 right now on the FedExCup points list, and he will clearly finish inside the top 125 at the end of the season and at the end of the playoffs. The Tour had to find a way to allow Taylor Gooch and these other players to reap the benefits of the points that they earned before they were suspended. This allows them to do that. Now, Taylor and the rest of the players are going to drop very, very quickly because they're not going to earn any more points, but it does allow them to make the distinction between those players who were suspended because they played in the LIV events and those players who were not. And again, this is sort of a legal distinction that they've been working on for quite a while. And it doesn't stop at the top 125. I know that's where we're going to focus the next 2 weeks because of the start of the playoffs. But I had one player call me this morning who's hovering right around just outside the top 200 number. Those players get inside. If you finish inside the top 200, they get to advance to the Korn Ferry Tour final. So it kind of impacts every corner of PGA Tour life.
There's a lot of trickle-down effects from this, as you mentioned, Rex. What happens next? It's probably going to be fairly popular with PGA Tour members, unpopular with LIV players. But what do you see as being the next steps in this drama?
Eamon, I think you and I have the same mindset when it comes to this, that this is heading for some sort of legal battle, and we know that's going to be the case. As a matter of fact, there's been a lot of rumors and a lot of talk on tour the last really 2 weeks that there'll be the same sort of court battle as far as trying to get an injunction. We saw this earlier this month when some players in a British court were granted the injunction to be able to play in the Scottish Open, which was a co-sanctioned event. And I'm hearing there's going to be a very, very similar court battle coming up maybe in the next week or two, trying to get some of these players who are currently outside of that, they're suspended, but they earned enough points to get into the playoffs. They're going to probably press the issue and try to participate in the playoffs.
From your reporting, Rex, do you think some of these suspended players are ready to fight this and say, you know what, they want not just that season-long bonus money, but they want to try to compete in the playoffs for that $75 million playoff purse?
I think so. Again, talking with people inside the game, talking with players who've gone to LIV, we have seen a distinction between those players who've resigned their PGA Tour membership and those who have elected not to. It's clear that those who have elected not to have done so for a reason. They want to participate in the playoffs. They want to be part of these bonus structures. There's also a very, very lucrative retirement program involved here, and they don't feel like just walking away and turning their back. And I think it's inevitable that we end up in some sort of battle over these players' status.
Rex Hoggard reporting on this ever-evolving story involving the PGA Tour and the LIV Golf Series.